Paige, did you do this in 2012?
I didn't do CrossFit then.
What was your first open?
2015, but I skipped a few, I drank a few. 2016 was the real deal.
Welcome back to Misfit HQ. We got a real doozy for you today. If you're an OG or you've just retested this or heard of the lore of 12.2, it was a 10-minute AMRAP, 30 snatches at 75, 30 snatches at 135, 30 snatches at 165, and then as many snatches at 210 as you could get in the remaining time. When it comes to phase 4, we are going to run up against the open and quarterfinals during our normal retest period. So we have some goals that we want to accomplish at the beginning of the phase or your comp block if you're following Hatchet. And that is to ask the question, are we good at touch and go snatches? And it's going to be really hard to do this workout and not find out whether you're really good at it. We also have some historical context, so you can go look at the 12.2 leaderboard. Maybe you've done it, like I said. So we want to present an interval version here so that we can go in and create some, high intensity intervals with both the power snatch and the touch and go clean and jerk, so that you can really build your capacity and your athlete IQ. So if it comes up in the open or quarterfinals, you've been building this information and capacity to really know what your strategy is going to be. So our version is a 20-minute AMRAP. And the biggest caveat here is every single time you put the bar down mid-set, so during any of your sets of 30 or during your AMRAP, you have to rest, mandatory 1 minute rest, at least 1 minute rest. The other piece of this that is different is these are updated women's weights. The women's weights were very low in 2012. It allowed a level of accessibility that should still be scaled down to if needed, but it also forced the women to get a pretty ridiculous amount of reps here towards the end. It was just a very different workout. So we went ahead and updated this to what we would probably see in today's open or quarterfinals. We have 2 CrossFit Games athletes demoing for you today. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, and I can guarantee you that because this is such an unknown, that strategies will need to adapt a little bit on the fly. What are we thinking, Paige? What's the strategy to start?
For me, I'm gonna go, because this is gonna get very grip intensive, so I'm gonna really kind of play the first weight by feel. Unbroken, maybe not unbroken. I'm gonna go based off like my cycle rate and how my forearms are feeling.
Yeah.
And then kind of the same thing for the 95 and really focus on the movement efficiency. They're light, like you can get really stupid with those weights as far as technique and form. So starting off really dialing in the technique so that the 135, the 115s are feeling a little bit smoother as the fatigue really sets in.
The 1 minute rest is only if you put the barbell down mid-set. And the reason I said that is if you're at 27, 28, it's obviously not going to make any sense to do that because then you have to go change your weight.
Right.
And then you can decide how much you rest there.
That's good to know.
Yes.
I would have rested a full minute.
Yep.
I feel like it would make more sense to do 30 and then rest a minute if I want to before starting the next set.
So I will give a little bit of behind the scenes on programming this. I think that the absolute best case scenario for someone who's like the best power snatcher in the world, I had this sort of as 1 set, 3 sets, 5 sets, and 7 sets, somewhere in that range. But I do think that for most athletes at the MFT level, the first set is a freebie. I think you kind of got to get it out of the way, and then you're better off resting the first time for a minute 5, a minute 10, a minute 15, than taking a mandatory 1 minute break during that period of time. But again, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, as they say. So,
I plan on getting punched.
Getting punched. I'm gonna punch myself in the face. Who wants to do some snatches?
plus 9. Final count, 26 total snatches for Caroline on the last barbell and 34 for Paige. They both stuck with the 5s method for quite a while, and then at the very end made strategic
I did not
plans.
see that coming. That was fucking
fun to watch.
impressive.
Yeah.
The final barbell was very impressive.
No, the execution there was really good. I think they were both very like heady in their strategic like breakup of movements and what they went to each round, knowing that like had they been a little bit more aggressive early on, it might have bit them in the ass later on. As soon as it started to get clunky, they both broke, which is exactly how you'd want to do this workout. Because as soon as you start to belabor the putting the bar down for your next rep, it's just not worth it. Do the extra rep, you're better off to break and then maybe do one more set if you have to.
With this workout, the way that it was written and the time domain that I had, like Paige specifically was off by, in terms of how many sets I thought they were gonna do, by 1 throughout the entire workout. So sort of knowing how long it takes most people to get through those snatches, you have to be really, I don't wanna say dumb. That's not the right word. It's not a very nice word.
Inexperience, maybe?
Yeah, you have to be very inexperienced to send yourself way too far to the right or to the left. But yeah, this went exactly how I wanted it to. And it's a unique one for Caroline because she's very good at muscle endurance workouts and the barbell. But I don't know if she would say this, but this is potentially her least favorite barbell movement out of all of them. We spent a bunch of time in phase 1 and 2 on heavy power snatches for like the heavy day stuff, and I could see the difference. Caroline, do you notice a difference? The difference between you snatching now versus on the semifinals or quarterfinals workouts? So much different. You're really snapping under the bar.
Like before, I would just jump super wide, and I wouldn't try to like get underneath it because I don't think I was like confident with that. Yeah.
The biggest takeaway I had is if you watch them move through the barbell, whether it was the first bar, second or third bar, they move the same on every rep that they did. No one was frantic with how they cycled the barbell. No one was frantic with footwork. Balance was locked in. Every rep essentially looked the same. And like when you're doing this workout yourself, that's what your goal should be, to move the same on every single rep. 'Cause that's the only way you're gonna get through this, like efficiently.
That was rough. Just the movement efficiency is like the super important part of that. So just 55 pounds should look the same as 135, and same for the guys. Like if you're not moving well, it's gonna cost you in the long run.
Any advice for people that are going to be doing it?
Move well, and reach a little bit. This is that time to take a chance, but you can really learn about yourself when it comes to touch and go cycling. And if you're not good at it, use this one to really get better at it. You got a long phase to practice it and dial it in. Made my biggest long sleeve. I'm ready for Miami.